All right, Clark, let's get into this. A lot of the videos I'm going to make are going to be a bunch of mistakes that I make so you can learn from my mistakes. But occasionally I'm going to throw in a project that I've walked away from and felt very accomplished from. I want to show you how I pulled those projects off. This is a peninsula shroud I'm making from scraps of wood flooring that were left over. I clamped all the flooring pieces together and machined the top and bottom of them to receive the horizontal pieces. Then I ripped them into 3/4 by 3/4 pieces with a 3/4 inch space in between each one. It just so happens that the wood flooring of this project was Ipe. One of the main purposes of this particular shroud was to kind of camouflage the fact that there was a cold air return in the wall of the peninsula. The other purpose of the shroud was to add a feature to this space that was meant to be in line with mid-century modern. Now, Clark, I'm not sure that Ipe is the go-to wood species for mid-century modern, but the customers sure like the look and durability of Ipe. Fun little fact about Ipe is that it has a Janka hardness, something you should probably look up, of 3,680 pounds. Since Ipe is so dense and so hard, it's extremely difficult to nail into or run screws into, any sort of fastener, so it's held together primarily with wood glue and joinery. There's a 1/4 inch piece of plywood backing that I cut vents into for the cold air return. I ran a couple of 5/8 inch screws through the back of the plywood panel into the pieces of the shroud itself. Now, the flooring was finished using a tung oil, but I sprayed a catalyzed polyurethane called ICA on it. Turned out super nice. Now, Clark, I used a method to get this shroud really nice and tight to the floor. I scribed a piece of wood to the floor first and then transferred my dimensions from the top of that board to the shroud. This worked fantastic. Cool thing is I got rid of the cold air return, that ugly metal painted 400 times box, and I pretty much made it disappear. And one of the cool things about how I did it was in that piece of plywood, it took a little bit of finesse, but I spaced it out. I took my time and spaced out all of the little slots, and I was able to allow the air to flow freely as it's supposed to. Just made a little jig, just took my little router with a little 1/4 inch fluting bit, I guess, and I put each one of the slots next to these vertical pieces, and not in the center, just right to the left of each one. And you can see them from if you walk up to it from the left, but most times you wouldn't. So the idea is most of the time you'd be facing it from the right hand side, so you never even see the slots. So I pretty much made that cold air return disappear using this method.